Hi, so I wanted to do something that would genuinely help more of you build a successful schools business. Because one of the biggest frustrations that I see is people try schools for a few weeks, they think, yep, that's the route I want to go down, they'll send a few emails. Quite often, you will not get a response, and then they decide this business doesn't work, it's not for me, I'm not very good at it, or schools don't want what I can offer. The reality is that schools are a relationship business. Many school partnerships will start after multiple contacts, 5, 6, 7, multiple follow-ups. And the people who build a strong schools business aren't always the most experienced. They're not always the most confident. They are the people who trust it and they keep going on when everybody else stops and gives up after the first or second or third contact. So I've decided to create something really, really simple, a 7-step to build a schools business. For every partner this will work for. Whether you've never had a schools business, whether you've dabbled your toe, whether you've tried to not get anywhere, or even if you've already got an established schools business, it's not another training. It is not another thing to add to your busy life. It is a simple process that will reflect what a successful school partner does consistently. So first of all, we're going to go through a little bit what it is, and then you will be given the step-by-step process and an accountability sheet to support yourself to tick these tasks off. And they do not take masses of time. The key is the consistency. So the first thing is building what we call a pipeline. The pipeline is your future income, especially if you don't have any schools and nurseries to contact, you don't have any opportunities. So you want to keep adding new schools and new nurseries, new PTA contacts and new community connections every single week. We're not going to able to work and build schools or nursery relationships without this pipeline. We want to become really visible, so that's step 2. People will buy into, book an event with, do a direct order with, have a book fair with, people that they recognise and that they trust. And schools and nurseries are no different. So you want to be sharing your own successes, sharing the impacts that our books make, celebrate events that you are doing that are going well, and be visible in your community. So if you can get out and about and making connections in your community, that will really help to build the trust through repetition, not necessarily performance. You don't have to be the best. There's very much that saying, it's done is better than perfect. Number 3 is we want to be creating multiple ways into schools and nurseries. So one email is not enough. One phone call is not a good strategy. Successful partners who have a school business will create multiple ways into a school. Through email, phone calls, popping in, PTAs, going to a fair, recommendations and local connections. Different schools will respond to different routes, and if they're not responding, it's not that they don't want you, it's just that they're ridiculously busy and they don't have time to respond to you, or they forget. You have to master follow-up. That is step 4 in our schools process, because this is where the majority of Usborne partners will actually give up. And they'll give up not because school says no, not because the school says nothing. Silence is not rejection, sorry. It's usually, like I say, they are so busy. It's the timing, it's the workload. Some schools will need 5, 6, 7 or even 10 follow-ups before they respond to you. And bearing in mind that you may be getting in touch with them cold, that's why we say to do the varied approach. So sending one cold email is not going to get a lifelong relationship and bookings, because they must get hundreds and hundreds of emails. But an email, a phone call, popping in, attending their summer fair, talking to someone on the PTA, grabbing a teacher, a governor, that is all going to be making a difference. So at least 10 follow-ups sometimes is needed. And if they haven't said no, the conversation is not finished. Do not make any assumption that they are not interested, because then you can't help them. They're missing out. Number 5 is always deliver a brilliant event. So when the school says yes, you're making their life easy. You want to be organised, communicate really well, and do what you'll say you do. Schools will remember people who make their jobs easier because they're so busy. And the 6th step of our process is creating repeat business. The easiest school to work with is one that you have already worked with before. So instead of looking always for the next opportunity, you will be able to go back to that school next year. Is there another school that they're partnered with, like an academy school, that would benefit? Can they recommend you elsewhere? So it's all about that lifelong relationship that we're building, and that is what this schools course is gonna give you. So step 7 is turning those relationships, once you have them, into referrals, because recommendations are absolutely gold, and that is what your business will be built on. A happy school will talk to another school. Happy teachers talk to other teachers. Teachers will leave and go to different schools. They'll change positions and they'll take you with them. So never be afraid to ask whether they know that another school that you could help. And make sure you're asking for testimonials and things to use in your future business as well. So alongside the system and this video, the step-by-step, the 7 steps, you will also get a weekly schools tracker. This is the important bit. The tracker is not about measuring results. It's about measuring your activity to get results. So you can control how many schools you contact. You can control how many follow-ups that you complete. You can not control when a school replies. Stop measuring success by the number of replies and the number of bookings, but start measuring your success by the activity that you do with this process and the tracker. I would love every partner, like I say, whether you are brand new or you've worked with schools before, to use this system and tracker for 30 days. Trust the process. Trust me and what I'm saying to you. Stay consistent. Treat your business with the respect that it deserves. No business, any independent business like ours or business on a high street, will be thriving immediately from actions that you take over the course of a week. You need to do repetition day in, day out, and that's what this school's business will give you. And please don't tell me schools don't want to work with you until you've genuinely followed up enough times and they've actually said to you, I do not want to work with you, go away. And you will never get that email. I've never had that email, and I know many successful school partners that have never had that email. The people who aren't successful are the people that will stop too soon, and it's that simple. So I cannot wait to hear about your wins and how this works for you. Use your mentor. They are your guide. They are your support. Follow the 7 steps and use your tracker.